It's time for our first interview for the day. We'll be speaking to Kimberley Taylor. Kimberley is a South African businesswoman and the founder of an online delivery software platform called Loop. She launched it in 2016 in Johannesburg and has proved to be a disruptor across the African continent with her uniquely developed tech, which solves real issues in the delivery of logistics. Kim, hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good, I'm good, thanks.
Nice. Thank you very much for having time to speak to us. I know that you're busy, but you were like, you know what, Bush Radio, don't worry, chill. I got you. I'm going to make sure that I'm with you. Kim, how have you been though? How's 2022 for you so far?
It has been a wild ride. It's been a very, very, very busy year, but incredible. I mean, I think it's been a year filled with lessons and, incredible team members and growth in so many different ways, personally and in business. So, lots of challenges, but a good year overall.
Okay. Before we even go straight into your company or the things that you've been to, where is Kim from?
I am from Edenvale. I don't know if you know that place in Joburg.
No, I don't. Did you grow up there where you were always interested in tech, or is something that you found it along the way?
So definitely found it along the way. My favorite subjects were maths and art. I definitely have a love for maths and problem solving, and I also do have a very creative side. And is actually in university when I was doing quite a mathsy subject that required some coding, that I did fall in love with tech a little bit more at that point.
And did you ever thought that, since you have this love for the tech, is going to be something that in future, where a lot of people all over the planet will start using, as they're calling it, the new world of technology?
No, I had no idea. I wouldn't have been able to guess this.
Nice, man. And then as soon as now you see you are one of the people that is in demand when it comes to your innovation and also your invention. You kind of like a futuristic. Is there too much pressure on it so far?
There is definitely lots of pressure. It is a difficult world to navigate, and it comes with definitely a lot of challenges.
And to show that obviously you are futuristic, in 2018, you and your team won the MTN App Enterprise of the Year award, and also went on to win this year a top performing company award. How's it been like though, working as a team, especially sometimes with a team, you disagree, there's fights, there's, those things, but how have you been coping with your team?
So honestly, building out a team and having the team just grow has been my favorite part. I think the beginning of this business, it can be lonely when you start and you're doing a lot of things by yourself. As the team grows, it feels like it's using the same word, but it feels like you have a team. It feels like there's an army, behind you, and we're going out and we're going through this battle together. You lose together, but you win together. It's everything is shared. And it's been my favorite part actually. And I think why this year has been my favorite is because our team has almost tripled in the last year. And so I think that's why it's been the most special, because I think you get to build relationships with people. You get to see people grow. Yes, we give, but I also feel like we receive so much by connecting with the people in our team. So yeah, it's been my favorite part. But we always, I mean, it's not always perfect, you know, with people. There's always things we have to learn, and we have to learn to have harder conversations and, you know, set standards. And there's, you know, these are all things that you have to do, that, you know, to help grow and challenge a team.
Okay. So now coming back to, please share with us how this brilliant idea about the software came about.
So I studied at Wits. I studied chemical engineering, and in my third year, I wrote a route optimization algorithm for one of the projects that we had. It was a question on the project, and at the time, I was quite interested in whether there were logistics companies using these algorithms to help their drivers be more efficient. You know, so I mean, drivers, when they start their day, how do they know, you know, what's the best route to take? What's the best sequence to do those 20 stops in? And so when I was curious about that, I investigated, I asked a friend that was in the logistics space. And that's when I started to see a trend across multiple industries, because I spoke to anyone who would really speak to me at that point, and saw that whether you're delivering a pizza, you're delivering, you know, bricks, there were very similar problems in that, you know, drivers weren't being tracked and there wasn't proper visibility for the business and also for the end consumer, right? So whether you want a pizza or whether you want a pile of bricks to be delivered because you have to, you know, build a house, a similar frustration occurred at the end where I just didn't have that visibility. So just seeing the trend and then there not being, you know, a lot of route optimization tools, one, and not being tools that provide great visibility and communication between those different people, the business, the driver, and the end consumer. That's kind of what got me interested and thought, well, I think there's a piece of tech that we could build here that could solve these problems. And that's kind of the start of the journey.
If you have just joined us now, we're speaking to Kimberley Taylor, South African businesswoman and the founder of an online delivery software platform called Loop. And the name Loop, how did it come?
So, we changed the name. We were first called Kawabanga, and it didn't really work. That naming didn't really work. And Loop we changed it last year, and it just spoke a little bit more to what we're doing, where we approach problems iteratively, right? We gather data points, we innovate, we build further insights. So we love just the loop, as a description of that. We also really like that loop is also can be loop, which is like a South African word. So it was just a better name, and there's a couple of reasons why we chose it.
And then when you were starting though, how many of you as a team?
So we started with two. I mean, in the beginning, investors. I mean, it's different because we didn't have a development team. We outsourced that, so I don't know if that would count as part of our team.
It should because it should count as a team because they're the one that were working with you.
Yes, yeah. So we were, but weren't hired. They weren't hired as employees. But we started with an outsourced dev team, which probably takes it to about 5, and then slowly as we've grown, we've started hiring our own internal dev team. So now we have a bit of a mix between outsourced and in-sourced dev, and that's probably our biggest part of our team.
And then after 2 years, you won the MTN App Enterprise of the Year. Did that shock you, or you were like, I know, I'm good. So I'm not shocked.
That was a complete shock. I had been to the awards the year before, and I'd watched some of the businesses that won awards, and I was so impressed. I was so inspired by, what they had been doing. And at that point in 2017, the product was maybe only a couple months old. So, I was just so in so much admiration of the pieces of tech and what could be built. And so a year later to have won that award was incredible. It definitely was a shock. I think I didn't have my shoes on. So when they pulled out the award, I don't even think I was wearing shoes because I didn't expect to be called up on stage. So to quickly put on my shoes and go up there and receive the award. So definitely a surprise.
And congratulations to you. And on that day though, how was the family or people who were supportive to you besides your team?
Yeah, no, very, very excited. I mean, I think the people closest to you are always part of the journey as well. They see all the highs and lows. And so they feel everything with you. So also very excited and impressed,
And then 4 years later, you won the Grindstone Top Performing Company Award again. You were like, okay, I know now.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a really amazing accelerator program to go through. If there are any young entrepreneurs, I really suggest being a part of some sort of accelerator. Grindstone was amazing because it also taught me lots of different things about business. Like you go through the different pillars of a business, right? Cash flow, legal, people, operations. And so I also just learned a lot through that program, which was quite amazing.
I'm loving it. And also, Kimberley, there's a lot of young people who are writing exams now as we speak, matriculants. Some of them don't know what they're going to study. Some already have an idea what to study. I want to know, though, when it comes to chemical engineering, what did that entail for you? Because now you're doing a business, even though you studied that. So how would you also advise a young person who probably maybe listening now, maybe they're not writing today? What would you like to say?
So I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I specifically chose chemical engineering. At the time, someone advised me and said that actually as a chemical engineer, and I think it's similar for a lot of the other engineering degrees, specifically industrial, is that you can still, even though you have this engineering degree, you actually learn a way of thinking, of problem solving, and that skill set is very wanted in the market. And so there's a chance that you don't actually have to go out and be an engineer. You could go work in a business, go work in a bank. And so what attracted me to to study this specifically was that it would allow the most options after varsity. I think that's specifically what attracted me. And I definitely do agree with that advice that was given to me. I think now I see a lot of people that I studied with, most of them are not chemical engineers. And that's because it did teach them, all of us, a way of thinking, a way of problem solving. A lot of them are in the tech space and data analytics, working for banks, or, it's so broad. But I also think, if you have the right attitude, and you find something that you're passionate about, you're likely to be quite successful in that. I think all of these things, what makes people do really well in them is that they have the energy to go through them, to persevere through the really hard times, right? And so finding something that you have a strong passion for, I really do believe you'll have a greater chance of success because you'll have a lot of energy to work through that, that area.
If you have just tuned in now, you're listening to Bush Radio 89.5 FM. Name of the show is called The Morning Cruise. I'm joined by Kimberley Taylor, South African businesswoman and the founder of an online delivery software platform called Loop. So now, obviously, as you were mentioning, challenges, things that you have to see. So what are some of the challenges you had to face, though, when you were creating the software?
Yeah, so I think, you don't have endless amounts of money and endless amounts of people. So resources are scarce. And so understanding how to be very creative with the resources that you have. And you can't just, tech is expensive. So building the right features, understanding. So it came down to me to really understanding the problem that we were solving. And making sure that we don't build things that we don't need, that our clients don't need, because otherwise then we were wasting money. So it's just the right use of resources has been a big challenge, but I love that challenge. I think it would be terrible to have endless amounts of money and then you don't focus as well, right? So I think when you have less resources, you focus on how to use them properly and how to actually solve real problems for your clients. After that, the really difficult thing in tech is scaling tech. So, we've all seen it. You've seen, I think it was last week, WhatsApp went down. We see these, tech platforms go down. So the other thing about tech is that it's never perfect. And so you're constantly having to, you're trying to grow, but you also, with that growth comes complexity in tech and how it scales, and bugs are what we call, I don't know if everyone knows that terminology, but we call bugs when there's something that's broken in the system. So that has been a journey in itself, right? And I think for people who are high achievers and maybe perfectionists, it can be really difficult because business and tech is never perfect. You never have enough time to get things exactly how you want them. So you have to learn how to navigate through that and provide value despite that, and have really good relationships and conversations with your clients.
Your company is only 7 years old. Obviously, you have just won 2 big awards. What's next, Kim?
So I would love to just carry on for another 7 years.
That'd be dope.
That's what I pray every day. So I'm very aware that businesses are fragile. And so I'm grateful for every day that we get to continue in Loop. And I'm sure that we will continue, but, I think it's always an awareness of these things. And so, next we hoping to continue to scale in all aspects. So scale the team, grow our client base. We work with some clients outside of South Africa, which has been really fun. So I'm hoping we get to do that a little bit more. So a bit of, I think our next step is just to hopefully just double down on what we're doing well and to just continue to do that at a larger scale. So greater team, bigger clients, and, bigger growth outside of South Africa as well at some point.
Let's sell the company now. Where can people get hold of it, and how can they, if they have questions or want to read more about it, how can they do it?
Yeah, so you can actually look us up with www.loop.co.za. So that's one place. You can go into our website. You can always find us on LinkedIn or Instagram. I think on Instagram we're Loop Platform, and you won't miss us because we have a rainbow colored icon. And so you can always find me on LinkedIn as well. I try to get to messages eventually. Those are the different places that you can find us, and hopefully reach out. We can do a demo, or if you have any questions, or, if you if you're a developer looking for a job, we're always looking to hire developers. So, yeah.
That is Kimberley Taylor, South African businesswoman and the founder of an online delivery software platform called Loop. Kim, one of the reasons we're doing this interview is to show the listener so that if someone like Kim can do it, you can do it too. You have to put your mind to it. Obviously, hard work, discipline, which you've applied, which is why you're one of the best companies in the continent. I won't even say South Africa, in the continent. So lastly, Kim, what would you like to say to that listener who's listening now? Maybe they also have their own hustle. They're planning hard, to get further. What would you like to say to that person who's listening now?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the two biggest things that have been important in my journey, the two biggest qualities are self-belief and resilience. You're going to get so many no's, and that's why you need to believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing. You really need to convince yourself of what you're doing. And then resilience is so important because you're going to get no's, because there are going to be so many obstacles. And the thing that I use to get through those big challenges and those hard times is I truly believe that there is purpose on the other side of the hard things that we're given to go through in life. And sometimes those are personal things, but they all give you those incredible tools, to be able to forge ahead and conquer all these different challenges, whether it's business or a specific career. And so, yeah, I would say just believe that there is a greater purpose on the other side of the hard things that you're going through. And that's helped me build resilience, which is, I think, such an important quality as you're navigating any really difficult thing in life.
Kim, I'm not going to add any further. Thank you very much for having time to speak to us on a busy schedule, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything, and hope the Loop will become bigger and bigger next year.
Oh, me too. Thank you